Chris.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of Weekly Talk featuring Dave and Chris. Turns out Dave is still doing his thing in New York, so I was able to get somebody, we'll call him Bob Dylan. How you doing, Bob?
I'm not too bad.
Alright, so Bob is actually on the phone. He's not sitting to my left, so we're not going to be able to pick up on, like, cues that me and Dave would. I'm not going to be able to point to Bob and say, oh, hey, it's your turn. So this is going to be like a format-free podcast, because I just want you guys to have an episode each week. I don't care who is on the other end. I'd prefer Dave, but today we got Bob. Now, Bob is a real busy man, too, so this is not going to drag over the 45 minutes. Let's keep this up. What's up, Bob? What do you want to talk about?
Well, we got a few video games I'd like to talk about. Cyberpunk, for one. Chernobylite's another one. Outer Worlds, I don't really know much about that one. But all these games seem to have a common theme where they're giving the player a lot more control, which I really like. Chernobylite.
What do you think? What, out of those three, which would be what would be the one that you would want to play first?
Well, everyone's really, really hyped about Cyberpunk.
Yep.
And, I, of course, would want to really check it out. But I'm really more interested in Outer Worlds.
Really?
Just with the letdown that No Man's Sky had at the beginning when it launched. Just seems like they're going to be a little bit more driven.
So Outer Worlds,
to make a space game.
I believe Outer Worlds is pre-fall. Like, I think it's like Fallout development team, but like they went off and did their own thing. I think that's what Outer Worlds is. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, Microsoft I think was going to buy Obsidian, and then another company, I think Take-Two, ended up getting the publishing rights for it.
Who?
So, Take-Two.
All right, cool, right on.
Yeah, I think they're doing the publishing.
So the Cyberpunk 2077, that's been like big ass hype, dude. They've been talking about that forever. But I'm kind of with you. I'm gonna have to say the Outer Worlds of the three that we just mentioned is probably the one I'd want to play because I'm a big Fallout fan. I've only seen like teaser trailers though. I haven't seen like anything legit. What do you have you been able to find anything like actual gameplay, or what makes you want to play it?
No, nothing really concrete gameplay that I've been seeing, but I like the idea, again, of a non-linear story that you're driving as the protagonist. And I did see that they were toying with the idea of putting relationships in it, and they backed out of that and axed that.
What do you mean, like companion, or like what, like Fallout 4? Companions?
It seemed like you could build relationships with people, like a significant other. And for whatever reason, they decided to back out of that.
All right. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you just heard my pen drop. That's fan-fucking-tastic. All right, so we've been sticking with this trend of no editing. I just want to give you guys raw, unfiltered fucking shit. So I'm not editing that pen drop. If you're just now joining, that's impossible because this is a podcast and you would have had to have listened from the beginning. But we have Bob with us. We don't have Dave. Bob, give me a little.
Yes.
Give me your elevator pitch. Who is Bob?
Elevator pitch. My name is Bob Dylan. Of course, not the Bob Dylan, but I'm here anyway, so you're gonna have to deal with it. Me and Chris have been friends since high school. Been pretty close over the years. Both got real busy, you know how adulthood is. So, been listening to the podcast since they launched. Big fan of it, and now I'm sitting in a field right now, 3 hours away.
You're in a field?
Yeah, I'm in a field.
What are you doing in a field?
Well, where I'm staying at, there's no smoking, so I got to go down the road. So I'm sitting in a car, chain smoking.
Are we allowed to tell the audience what Bob is training for, what his upcoming endeavors are?
Probably go on the safe side, say no.
All right. So, yeah, if you've got any kind of imagination, let's just say that Bob can't tell you what his job is about to be for your protection as much as his.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, so that was your elevator pitch. We now know who Bob is. Bob's a very busy man. I've been able to contact him, as I've teased on Twitter. Dave, man, we probably shouldn't have started this until his obligations were taken care of. But Dave's got a job. He's I can't remember, software. He does something to do with software. He's a fucking genius on a computer, and his job takes him places that nobody else wants to fucking go. and he's been there for about 2 weeks now. So this is episode 4. It's Bob and Chris, not Dave and Chris. And we are currently talking about video games. Bob pretty much wrapped up the Outer Worlds. I don't know, man. I want another Fallout. I was not a fan of Fallout 76, so I think that's why I would pick the Outer Worlds. But dude, this hype around Cyberpunk, man. What do you think about Cyberpunk?
I'm really excited the fact that it doesn't have a multiplayer, just because, we grew up in an era where story in a single-player game was important. You know what I mean? A lot of games over the years, past couple years especially, have just been really relying on multiplayer action, and I think they're seeing a market dry up, and Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red, they're really good with stories, so I'm really excited to see a game come out that is really story-driven in that way, to where it's going to get people excited about a good story.
No
and
doubt.
I hope it really does good.
I was a big fan of seeing, Keanu Reeves in the motherfucking teaser trailer. I'm a big fan of Keanu.
So you and everyone else, man. I think my
is.
grandma was even excited about that one.
That dude, he's a special human being, man. He is living a life of the rich and the famous, but humble as the broken and the poor. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I think he's the puppy dog of our celebrity world for sure.
Yeah, so mad respect to Keanu. I'm hoping he's kind of like a villain, man. That's what I'm hoping for.
No, I don't think he is. He's this game is based off of a tabletop game apparently.
Oh, no shit.
And and apparently it's more than just a cameo. It's actually going to be he's going to be an important character in the game moving forward.
Oh, all right, right on. So I really don't know much about the tabletop game. You just got my head wrapped around that really quick. I'm not understanding exactly what you mean by that.
Well, kind of like a D&D style game.
Oh, no shit, like
a role-playing game.
Fucking really. That's probably why there's so much fucking hump. Yeah, yeah.
2020.
Yeah, I remember. I've seen 2022. That's probably the hype then. Nothing against people who play D&D. I don't think you're getting that type of game right here.
I think if they're really just using the story of it and, launching off of that. And that's the thing is, we're moving into an era right now and have been for a while where video games are as artistic as movies. And some of them have better storylines.
I mean, no doubt. Sometimes you play a video game solely for the cinematics, man. Let's be real. Once you beat a game, I remember back in the day when I beat a game, I liked to go through and watch, because you can go to one of your settings or whatever, go to the menu, and you can find just the theatrics, and you can play them in sequential order, and it was like a fucking movie.
Yep.
Speaking of movies, got anything that you can suggest as far as movies?
Not really. I've been out of the movies for a while. We did just me and my wife did just watch The Lion King live action,
man,
and
all right.
Aladdin.
What are your thoughts? Oh, I haven't seen either. Motherfucker. What are your thoughts on both, man? Because I heard Lion King just pretty much passed the one. It's the highest animated grossing movie ever. Highest grossing animated movie ever. So what are your thoughts on The Lion King?
Well, if you're a fan of the original and you're looking for nostalgia, you're definitely going to enjoy this. But if you're looking for a straight shot-for-shot remake, it's not what you're going to go for. It does cut out a few of the musical numbers, main acts, and it adds a few, actually.
So who plays as Timon and Pumbaa?
Seth Rogen plays Pumbaa.
Okay.
Timon, I am not sure off the top of my head. But those two voice actors, I actually think, were excellent in the choice to use those guys. So they did a really good job with that.
What did you and the old lady think of it? Would you go see it again, or would you ever see it again? That's pretty much what I'm basing movies on anymore. Would you ever see it again?
It's got good rewatchability for sure. It's got the nostalgia pump that everyone's looking for nowadays. And my wife, of course, she likes to sing, whenever they do their songs. So she was a little upset that they cut out some of the parts of the songs, but she was okay with what they did with it. Aladdin is a slightly different story. I will say Will Smith, not as bad as I thought he was going to be. He held his own.
Was he all right? So how often was he a blue genie, and how often was he a Will Smith genie?
Interspersed, there's a lot of him in his human form because he's helping Aladdin along with what he's doing. It's, again, not a shot-for-shot remake of the original animated. There are a lot of similarities, though. He's really trying to help Aladdin convince the Sultan that he's the one to marry Jasmine. They do go in a little bit of a different direction with that part of the story, but the same idea that the original had, that a street rat, to be true to yourself is more important than pretending to be someone you're not.
All right.
And it was okay. I wouldn't say rewatchability. I probably wouldn't watch it again. But Will Smith surprised me with his role as the genie. Of course, no one can beat Robin Williams, but Will Smith did a pretty decent job of paying homage to him.
No shit. All right, cool. Enough with the movies. Where are you at in today's music world, man? What are you fucking with anything in particular? Are you fucking with anything at all?
Not really. I got a workout playlist, I think, like everyone else on the planet.
All right, what's yours have?
Well, we got some Eminem, some Bone Thugs, some Plies, White Stripes.
God damn, you working out the Plies?
Oh yeah, man.
No doubt. All right.
Yeah.
Everybody has like Till I Collapse, so I assume that's on there.
That's on there.
All right. So nothing in like what have you dabbled in outside of your workout playlist? Is there anything that people might not expect you to fuck with?
Well, I have been trying to listen to a little bit of Tom McDonald.
Really?
He's got some good songs. Yeah.
Did you did you check out Butthole?
Yeah, I did actually. I just did watch that the other day.
I feel like Tom McDonald, man. I feel like he's very talented, but I also like Danny. Danny, she said that he's kind of like a troll. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. He's a message rapper, and what he's trying to do is get people's attention and hoping they're going to listen to the rest of the songs. Because when I first saw Straight White Male, I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you fucking serious? What is this about?" As a straight white male myself, I was not prepared for it. I was like, "Come on."
Did you like the track though? I mean, the message of the track is pretty legit.
It took me halfway through the song to realize it was satire. I'll be honest. Halfway through, I was like, "Wait a minute, okay."
I feel like he's satirical with a lot of shit he does.
Yeah, actually, not very many of his songs have replayability in my mind, unless you're just listening for a message.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's got a good message.
All right, what about the Mac Lethal Tom McDonald beef?
I haven't been paying attention to that really.
Did you listen to any of the tracks or anything at all?
No, I don't know much about Mac Lethal. I didn't really have a whole lot of interest for that beef because I'm not invested in it. You know what I mean? If I knew who Mac Lethal was, maybe I would be.
So Mac Lethal, just to summarize him, if you're a Mac Lethal fan, don't come at me. I don't give a fuck. Don't tweet me. It's pretty much this is my summary. Mac Lethal got his rise to fame by remixing Look at Me Now by Chris Brown. But he was remixing it while cooking pancakes. Nothing special. He can rap really fast, but Tom McDonald has this line in his diss back to Mac Lethal. He says, all your bars are filler. So he's pretty much saying he talks about nothing, which is kind of true in a sense, I guess.
Okay.
What do you think of Tom McDonald's If I Were Black?
That that's a tough one because as far as the content of it, I understand what he's saying. Straight white male is his perspective, right, as a straight white male. And If I Was Black is his perspective as a straight white male of what he would feel like if he was black.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of people miss that. A lot of people think he's trying to speak for them. He's trying to speak for black people in that way, but he's just trying to say, look, if I was black, I'd be pissed about this, this, and this.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The song was okay. The song was okay, but I think he stepped a little over the line when he made the album art where it showed him blended into a black body.
Well, did you watch the video?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
It was you might be right, man. It was a bit over line. But again, it's one of those songs like you said, no replay value really. I mean, he got the view. He at least earned 2 views out of this conversation, so he's earning views, but no replays.
Yeah, the bad thing is, again, with a lot of his music, if you look at the clip on YouTube or if you see the line, you're not going to pay attention if you don't want to. And that's a big problem because you see If I Was Black by a white rapper, and automatically you're going to go to that same mindset that he's trying to capitalize on black people and black music.
All right.
And in that song, he actually does address that. But some people just don't want to give it a shot, and I don't want to get into politics too much. But like I said, I think if people give it a listen, and with the mindset that he's just trying to say, this is what I would feel like, can't you understand why some people would be pissed? And I think that's pretty straightforward.
All right, so without going into the politics, well, maybe we might touch politics just a slight bit right here. Do you believe? I understand what cultural appropriation is. I get that. Do you believe? We're 2019 now. Is it out of place for a white man to be a rapper?
I'd like to say no, just because culture is supposed to be shared.
Correct.
You know, it's not something that's supposed to be kept within a singular race and culture. That's a thing where culture's like language. You don't get any variability. You don't get any growth if you don't stretch your limits, if you don't share. And I know some things, are still really touchy, but cultural appropriation to me is the dangerous idea. It's trying to say that, we're having this culture and we're not willing to grow or share it. And, whether or not it's a good or bad thing, I can't really say. In some cases it is, some cases it might not be. But in that sense, the song, the white rapper idea, as long as they're good, as long as they're not,
right.
just using
fuck
the
that.
shock value.
Fuck the mumble rapper shit. If you're coming at me with legit bars, I don't give a fuck what you look like.
Yeah, and like I said, you know how the mumble rappers are, and I want to say face tattoos, but Tom McDonald's face tattoo, but he's not a mumble rapper.
Yeah, Tom McDonald's look is so fucking creepy. If you were to just flip past one of his videos on YouTube, you're not going to click on him unless you know who the fuck he is, because it's just not something you want to look at. But I get what you're saying, man. Most of these SoundCloud fucking face tattoo mumble rappers, they gotta go get 12 fucking face tattoos to ensure they'll never have another job, It's weird, man. That's the type of white rapper I don't want to support.
Yeah, and the content is another big one, It's a big one for me because rap started out as street poetry, as urban poetry.
Right on.
And that's one of the things that's just lost in this latest round of music.
So, all right, so
and
about
especially with...
No, go ahead. I was going to interrupt you on the content thing. Lil Peep, you ever heard of him?
Heard of him, never heard any of his music.
All right, Lil Peep, man, I believe he was a SoundCloud rapper. He had the face tattoos, all the whole shebang. But after he passed away, I fucking dabbled in a couple of his songs, and he had the content, he just didn't have the delivery. So, do you think delivery has anything to do with why people hate mumble rappers?
Absolutely. Like, you can have the content, but if you can't sell it, who's going to pay attention to you? And a lot of it is club music, you know what I mean? If you're in a club, you're not listening to lyrics.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, you're listening to a fucking hyphy-ass beat. That's all you care about.
Yep.
Honestly, man, if I had to be real with you, you shocked me when you sent me one of those Tom McDonald videos. I was like, holy fuck, man, Bob is on the Tom McDonald shit? Get the fuck out of here. So how did you come across it?
The good old YouTube algorithms, man. Really, I was scrolling through YouTube and I saw the straight white male pop up. And I'm one of those people, sometimes I like to be pissed off. And I was thinking that was going to be a song that was going to piss me off. I thought it was just going to be this attack on what some people are seeing as reactionary tendencies. And I listened to it, and like I said, halfway through I realized, oh, he's skewering the idea that a straight white male is to blame for everything. But at the same time, he's trying to say you're using the same tactic that the other side uses, which is stereotypes and prejudices. You're tapping into those stereotypes and saying, because you're a straight white male, you can get away with murder.
Yeah.
And it was deep. Like I said, no replayability as far as that song goes. I did like sad rappers, and we were just talking about the mumble rappers.
I do like the sad rappers. I like that he addresses how they're trying to mimic, real issues to get a view. I like that. He was addressing something that was legit.
Yeah. Connecting with your audience is an important thing to do. but there's so much of it now, it does seem forced. It does seem fake.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh man,
it's
if you're gonna plagiarize, a sickness just to fucking feel like you're at eye level with me, then I don't. It's hard to support you. It's hard to feel like you're
yeah,
being genuine or sincere about anything.
cashing in, man, and that's the bad thing about it is some of these content rappers, they can't cash in the same way because they don't
No,
want to sell
yeah,
out.
I've noticed that, man. I've noticed that, like the conscience rap or whatever. I don't know how conscious, whatever the word is. I've
Con-
no,
content and conscious, yeah.
yeah, I've noticed that type of rap. You got your Macklemores or Kendrick Lamars. The people who are spitting about, real shit. It's not getting on the radio. It's not fucking.
Yeah.
It's only making money because of people who want to listen to real shit. But that's not a very. It's not a big. It's a big group when you think about the grand scheme of it all. But per city, it's probably a small group of people who want the real shit.
Yeah, it's not sexy, you know what I mean? And to think about some of the stuff that they're confronting, the issues they're confronting, they're not sexy issues that are really gonna get you going and get you going in the club. And that's what a lot of people want to do. They want to forget about work. They want to forget about their troubles, so they put on some music. And some people don't want to be reminded of the troubles in the world when they're trying to relax.
Yeah, yeah. My music shouldn't be my news. I can relate, but in a same degree, I do feel like some of this real music should probably be that should be the number one hit. It shouldn't be nothing against that Little Nas X, but it shouldn't be some Old Town Road.
No, don't be hating on Little Nas X, man. That's a catchy tune.
It's a catchy tune, but there's nothing into it, man. It's just a very simple track. There's no substance at all.
It is. It absolutely is. And I'll be the first to admit, I didn't like it at first, but
I'm with
after
you.
I listened to it through, it was pretty good. And I'll say this, someone on YouTube, whoever this guy is, love this guy, did a little Old Town Road parody using Halo. And it was good. It was funny.
All right. Now, I did see on Twitter, Little Nas X had, it was pretty funny. I think he might have been a service member at one point in time, but he did something about, he remixed his little, he remixed that Old Town Road, but to military theme. It was kind of cool. It was,
like a cadence?
Yeah. Well, no, like, so people were commenting, but they were commenting about military items, like, I put my boots on or something. Just, I don't know. You have to look into it. If you know what I'm talking about, go ahead and email us, because maybe we can share that little brief bit of what was cool before I had to drag it out and explain it.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll cover it on the next show.
Back to the white rapper thing, though. Bobby is aware of my ongoing MGK giveaway. It's for a signed copy of Hotel Diablo. Honestly, even though you and I, we've been to plenty of MGK shows, this is my favorite album by MGK. This is the realest thing I've ever heard. I want you to give the listeners the word for the week.
All right. Well, if you're ready, the word of the week is underdogs.
All right. Why did you pick underdogs? Is it because MGK was an underdog at once, or?
For so long, and ties back into what we were just talking about, some people who deserve to get a little bit more recognition at certain times don't. And when you're going against these people who are putting out, massive amounts of money to push certain music, sometimes it can feel like you're an underdog. And if you're one of those people who like rappers or like musicians who are underdogs, you have a sense of pride when someone says, hey, I just found this guy and he's pretty good, or I just found this girl, she's pretty good. You have a sense of pride to know that, I listened to them first. It's a little selfish, but it's nice to know.
No doubt, yeah. All right, so the word was underdogs. Have you checked out Hotel Diablo, by the way? Have you heard it?
No, not yet. I've been pretty busy the last few weeks. I wanted to, but I just haven't got into it yet.
No, yeah, I with everything that Bobby can't share that he has going on, I can vouch. He's a legit fan. He's been pretty busy. So I know that I don't know if you fuck with my Twitter. I've seen that you posted or retweeted a couple of things from the podcast page. But I'm in talks with a guy named Skrizzly Adams. Have you heard of him at all outside of me?
No.
All right. Well, he is a Heartland rock musician from New Jersey. I don't know how old he is. I don't know any of the specs. Working on doing an interview with him. I was kind of curious as the co-host of the week. You are also a listener. Is a independent musician interview. Is that anything that you would be interested in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not just from the side of saying, I want to find out more about these guys and I want to find new people to listen to, but sometimes if you do have someone that you're a fan of that's an underdog or an unknown, it's nice to find out that someone else is listening too, and that you can hear them talk to someone else and get a few more glimpses into how that person is and how they create music. And, like we were talking about underdogs. It's nice to know that you're not the only one listening to these people, and to help introduce independent artists to a wider audience, or, in some cases, a thinner audience. It's a really good feeling.
So, as cool as what you just said is, I agree 100%. It's cool to know that you're not the only person listening to somebody. Since I have you on a phone call, and we're in an era that there's no such thing as like home phones, I got a text message as you were talking. So if anybody hears the little alert, I apologize. It didn't interrupt anything Bob said. You'll just have to hit the back, rewind 15 seconds, maybe try to listen to it again if you didn't catch everything he said. But Skrizzly Adams, he just hit 50 million listens on Spotify. As an independent artist, man, that number sounds pretty astronomical.
That's awesome.
He has 330,000 monthly active listeners, which is kind of cool that they track shit like that.
Yeah.
I discovered this guy through a rapper. All right, he not only he does his own rock thing, but he does some music with the fella named Chris Webby, and he adds a nice little something to the tracks that he's on. I can't really explain it. I suggest that anybody listening go check out like Chris Webby featuring Skrizzly Adams, the Stick Up, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. I want to move this little thing forward. What are your thoughts on the new Terminator movie?
I'm actually low-key excited about it.
Oh, me too, man. Me too.
It's going to erase the mistakes that have happened since Judgment Day, and it's going to be, I don't know if this is the first time, but it's going to be a reboot halfway through the series.
Yeah, ain't
They're not
weird?
rebooting all the way to first one. They're just going to go, hey, all these other movies that no one liked, they never happened. We're going back to the bare bones basics, and we're going to move on from there the way the story should have progressed.
Have you been paying attention to the news at all lately, Bobby?
A little bit, yeah.
Did you see that immigration that fucking security guard or whatever for ICE? Did you see him driving through the plow of protesters?
I didn't see the video. I saw a headline that people were of course tweeting out and sharing their outrage about it.
What do you feel about that? Do you think like, all right, I'll never drive through a group of people. That's just something I can't do. But you gotta kind of understand how fucking annoying that shit's gotta be.
Yeah, I'll say that in some circumstances, protest is fine, and I don't have a problem with protesting, something that you feel strongly about. I don't know exactly the ins and outs about this case in particular, but the problem with the world we live in now is everyone's a videographer. You can take a video and cut it down to 10 seconds, and it shows the narrative that's going to work for you. And I'm not saying that happened in this case, but it's a real dangerous thing that people are doing now. It's making an assumption about a situation without seeing the whole context.
Right, yeah.
And really something...
No, you're right, 100%. Like, unless I have 100% of the video, all I'm seeing is what they're sharing.
Yeah, it's really something that needs to be addressed more, because there's been a lot of videos that have come out recently that showed, whether it's a shooting or whether it's a fight, and it shows something that is genuinely outrageous. But then there are situations where, in the wider context, and again, not to touch on politics, but these police shootings, it's hard, but sometimes if you go and if you find out which police department has, done something wrong in your eyes, you can request, if they have body cameras, you can request to release the body camera footage, and you can watch the full body camera footage.
No doubt, yeah.
And I urge anyone anyone who sees a shooting and if it doesn't seem right or if it's genuinely outrageous, find that department, ask them to send out a video clip of their body cam so you can watch the wider context first. And no matter, even if it comes out and you're still outraged about it, at least you know from start to finish this is what happened. And yeah, with everything else, you got to do your research. So I can't really comment on this situation in particular, but whatever happens, just make sure you've got the wider context before you start demanding action against something.
What do you think of that fucking kid who won that $3 million for Fortnite? I was reading a headline. I didn't open the article, but I read a headline about how he was just recently involved in a swatting incident. And you know what swatting is, right?
Yeah.
Now, how did they pull that off? How can I call the police from my house and have them come investigate your house?
Well, the thing is, when police get a call that is, a serious situation, sometimes, if you see a police officer pulling someone over and they immediately have their gun out, that's called a felony stop.
Okay.
Which is the person in the car is suspected of committing a felony, a dangerous crime of some sort. So they're already at, level 10 when they pull up on you. So in a swatting incident, they get your address or your approximate address, and they call the local police department or they call 911, and they say, there's either a hostage situation or there's, someone in there with a gun, something that is going to get the police up to that level 10, so where they're not going to knock on the door quietly and go, hey, are you okay? So they're getting the police false information, and the police think that they're going in to stop some horrific act, and that's how they burst into these houses. And some people have legitimately been killed because someone has swatted them.
Is there any, punitive action against the people who made this false claim of something going on?
If they can track them down, they will charge them
with
making a false claim.
Do you think they're doing it with, burner phones? Or because nobody's going to be dumb enough to do it with their active daily runner phone. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you'd be surprised. And the next question is how many resources they have at their disposal to actually track down cell phone calls. And like I said, anymore, cell phones are pretty cheap. You can go buy one pretty cheaply and do something like that. And if you can get it without tying it to yourself. And now they do a pretty good job of tracking these people down, but in some cases, it's too late. If someone gets swatted, police run in and the person panics and, reaches for something or has something in their hand in a dark room, tragedy can happen.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't understand what the purpose of this swatting is. Are you envious? Are you angry? Did the motherfucker beat you too many times on Fortnite? Like, what the fuck is going on with that?
Part of it is that, and I think another part to me in my mind is people are watching the streams and they want to reach out and they want to interact, whether or not, it's in a good way or bad way. And having that power to just have something go on screen that you created, that you can sit back and go, ha, I did that. I think that might actually come into play, too.
That is fucking dirty, man. That's crazy as shit.
Yeah.
Hey, did you read about the Israel? What they did in Tel Aviv, Israel, after the Dayton shootings?
Oh, okay. They flew our flag in support, didn't they?
How fucking cool is that, man? To know that you're fucking. I was over in Egypt for a long time, but I couldn't tell you how far away from America I was, but I know it was far. That's so fucking cool, man. Tel Aviv. That's like oh shit. I just screamed into the microphone. Tel Aviv, that's pretty much a big tourist city in Israel. And for them to show support from that far away, I felt like that was really cool. I felt like that shouldn't go unspoken.
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever you think about politics of that region, you have to try to step outside of that and say, look, there was a tragedy, and they're showing support for us, regardless of anything else. And other countries, they show support all the time, and unfortunately, they don't get enough recognition either. So I'm glad we brought this up.
No, that was one of the biggest headlines that caught my eye this past week. Even though it doesn't mean anything to a lot of people listening, that meant something to me. I don't know why, but it did.
Well, you're a veteran, so, you have that pride in your heart that, you served for that flag and for what that flag stands for. So, that's where a lot of people, get the idea that, it means something special, and that's, to see someone else in another country show the support for our country in that way, it can be heartwarming.
All right, so I'm currently looking at the news articles, and there was one posted just 2 hours ago. It said that 2 victims in the Dayton shooting were actually hit by police bullets, which, it's gonna happen. I hope they didn't die. That sucks, but I don't want anybody to fault the police, man. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
Well, if you watch the video, I don't know if there's anyone listening that would make a different choice.
No,
It's a tough job to do, absolutely. And if you show up on the scene and you see a guy getting ready to run into a crowded club with a rifle like he was, with as many bullets as he had, even if they did, unfortunately, if someone was killed, it's a tragedy, absolutely. But even if they did hit somebody in that shooting, they stopped a lot more deaths that night. And that's what we got to put in perspective, that they can't make 100% of the shots that they take, and they can't predict every situation and how it's going to roll out. And we've been so spoiled in this country to have, a good law and order in a way that we're not touched by some of the violence that we see in other countries. So to have an incident like this pop up, it just seems so much more magnified because we live in such a peaceful time, for the most part.
It's so weird, man. It's like me and Dave talked about a couple weeks ago. It's not the guns, it's not the video games, man. It's just people. Some people are just wired to fucking hate, and it's so weird. It blows my mind that we're the only country seeing this shit on a man, I have a stat. I don't know how true it is, but I heard somebody say that there have been more major shootings this year than numbers of days.
Yeah, mass shootings are characterized, I believe, as more than 3 to 5 people.
Isn't that fucking crazy, man?
It is. But here's another thing we have to take into perspective, that, on both sides of the argument are guilty of assuming and omitting facts in the cases. And again, video games do not cause violence. Maybe they cause a little bit of rage, but that's always on the end of the controller.
No doubt.
The controller gets that.
My controller has been through a beating, but I never took it outside the house.
Yeah, and guns, they don't cause violence anyway either. But what people have to realize, why are assault rifles, as they're called, being used in mass shootings? Because they're effective. Well, people say that, these assault rifles should be banned. But think about which assault rifles are being used. They're AR-15s or AK-47s in most cases. And those are some of the cheapest ones that you can get your hands on. And that's another thing we got to look at. If they're easy to get, but there's not really many people going out there with fully automatic weapons. It's normally semi-automatic because they're relatively easy to get.
Yeah,
and
man.
They're effective.
No doubt. I don't own a gun. I did at one point, but not for me, man. The military pretty much got me all gunned out. But yeah, I don't know, man. The whole shooting thing still blows my mind. I can't believe as Americans, you're proud of your country. Fucking share that pride. Don't fucking share the hate.
Yeah, it's a shame. It absolutely is. And that's what we got to remember, what makes us strong. We stand together and try to drown out the hate with as much love as we can.
So, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the A$AP Rocky deal. I talked to everybody on phone calls. I've talked to you. I've personally talked to you outside of the podcast, and you shared your insight. I shared mine. I did not update you guys, though. Did you see that he was found guilty of assault?
Saw that, yeah.
And I think he said he is disappointed. I don't want to go into detail on the case. If you want to fuck with it, go ahead and find it out yourself. It's not a big deal. I just wanted to update you on, the fact that he was found guilty. So, Bobby, I know that... All right, guys, Bobby is what I called him since school. He goes by Bob. Don't allow me to... If you ever run into Bob, don't call him Bobby. He ain't gonna fuck with you. But, I know that you fuck with the Funkos. I know that your wife collects them. I collect them. Have you seen the Office Funko Pops?
I've heard of them. I haven't seen any of them yet. I'm actually pretty excited. And I'm going to say right now, I'm sure Dwight's going to be sold out pretty quickly.
Oh, no doubt. I heard that the prison Mike was pretty fucking hot. I don't know how
Prison
quick
Mike.
I don't know how quick he went, but I heard Prison Mike was one of the quickest selling Funkos.
Hmm. All right.
You know, talk about where Michael Scott is dressing up as if he's gonna be a gangster on like what the fuck is that show, Scared Straight or something like that. He has that purple bandana
Oh yeah.
on.
It was a purple or blue, but yeah, that was. Oh man, there's so many good moments from that show too.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So I was reading about Walgreens cutting down to, you know, they're cutting 200 stores. They're closing down 200 stores. I wanted to be a dick and make up a joke about maybe if they, you know, how if they didn't use so much ink in their fucking receipts, maybe they'd have the money. But it's still shitty that, you know, 200 stores of people are gonna be without a job. So what do you
Yeah.
think's behind the whole shutdown? Do you think big online markets are really hurting these little stores?
I would say definitely in some cases. I mean, when you can get stuff cheaper, you're going to go that way. And
Oh yeah.
in some cases, it's the stores over marketing or over saturation of the market.
I
You
mean,
know,
let's
and I
be
don't
real.
know if you.
The Walgreens, like, you don't go to Walgreens for a 12 pack of soda because you're spending $9 on that 12 pack. So, like you just said, if I can get it cheaper, I'm going elsewhere.
Yeah, if you do stop at Walgreens, it's because it's closer to the house. You know what I mean? And most other places, the same thing. It's close,
Does
it's
CVS
easy, and you
own
can just go get
Walgreens?
it. I don't think so. No, there's
So they
CVS,
are?
Walgreens, and Rite Aid.
All right. Shit, man. I can't believe that you've actually been able to have this podcast go all the way to the 40-minute mark, man. Do you want to keep it going, or what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to leave that up to you. Like I said, I'm sitting in the field. I'm going to have to get going pretty soon, but, you know,
How you
it's been
liking your
fun.
training, man? How you digging it?
It's different. It's definitely different culture shock than what I'm used to, you know,
I'm curious.
being a lazy guy.
Is this your first significant break away from the wife?
It is, actually. Actually, no. Well, 4 days is the longest, and I'll be hitting 5 tomorrow.
How is she taking it?
She called me the other night and said that she missed me, and, you know, it's a little different. She's still got the dog there and the cats, so she's got company, but, you know, definitely missing the wife anytime you're away from home.
You're looking forward to, because I know that what you're doing is Monday through Friday, weekends home. Are you looking forward to the weekends? Is it kind of helping you break the monotony of, you know, doing your weekly struggle?
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, of course, when you're gone for a week and you come back home, you got a lot of stuff to catch up on, and before you know it, it's time to go back. So I'm going to try and get as much squeezed in on the weekend as I can while I got the time home.
Call of Duty. Did you pre-order it yet?
No, I have not, man. Been broke.
Oh, yeah. We talked about that, motherfucker. Anybody want to get my boy Call of Duty? No, I'm just fucking with you. I did ask some people to get me some PlayStation Plus because I was trying to emphasize that I was broke, but Dave warned me not to do that, so I actually wanted to update you guys. I went out and bought my own fucking PlayStation Plus. I'm so grateful that Bobby decided to lend us, you know, a little bit of his time. Like he said, he's got to get back. It was cool, man. It was a good conversation. How do you feel about doing a podcast? How did you feel about being a special guest on this week's episode?
Well, I had fun. I hope everyone else listening had fun. You know, enjoyed listening to me go on and be a little long-winded, but
I don't know, man.
other than that, I had fun.
What the fuck? That's what you listen to podcasts for. You want to hear other people talk. I mean, do you have any podcasts
sometimes.
that you fuck with?
Rooster Teeth podcast, of course, is
Okay.
one of my favorite ones. They do a video, they do live stream, and it's really a laid-back conversation. It's kind of like how we're doing here. Of course, Joe Rogan is the king of podcasts. You know, he's got great guests. Whether or not you agree with his politics, he's got great guests.
I really hope that one day, you know, I could be in the same, you know, 300 character page as Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
I mean,
Achievement Hunter is a good one.
Joe Rogan will always be
topic.
number one, so I'm hoping that, you know, we can at least be on the same page as Joe Rogan.
Well, when someone mentions podcast, you at least want to be mentioned as a podcast. Not to compete with anyone who's out there, but just to be in the same ballpark.
No.
These guys are too.
I feel like we've actually been growing pretty decently. Every episode is above 100. I know that don't sound like shit to, you know, the people listening, but to two dudes who just bought some fucking crappy ass equipment and decided to run with just a fucking stupid idea. It sounds pretty cool to me.
Hell yeah.
I do appreciate your support on this episode. I'm fucking hoping that I can call you anytime I need you, because it's looking like Dave's hiatus might be a little longer. Maybe not. I do have one last question for you. When do you think I should drop this? Should I release it tonight, or should I release it on Saturday?
Well, man, I don't know. I'm definitely not going to listen to this episode because I'm in it. But
no! I need the view. Fuck that. Did you tell your wife that you're gonna be on it?
I have not. I'll call her when I get off the phone with you. She just texted me, in fact, in case that came through. She did send me a text message. And in case you want to know what a married couple talk about when one is away from home for longer than 4 or 5 days, she just said, "Did you eat all the peanut butter in the cupboard? Why didn't you tell me?"
All right, guys. So if you're looking forward to getting married, make sure, if you're the dude, you tell the wife about the peanut butter. It's a serious deal, man. Every small fucking thing that means nothing to me means a lot to Danny. I tell you what, man. Shit.
Yeah.
So Bobby said he's not going to listen. I hope that was a lie. I think I'm going to go ahead and drop it tonight, man. It's Thursday. It's close enough to Saturday. Man, it's been real. I appreciate your talk. Anything you want to share with anybody before we get off here? You want to do a little shout out to your wife?
Hey, Ashley, sorry.
Sorry about the peanut butter. This is forever embedded into the technological world.
Yeah, everyone knows now that I'm an inconsiderate husband.
All right, Bobby, man, I really do appreciate that you took time out of your day to help me finish this. Help me get something out there for the week.
Yeah.
I think you did a pretty good job. I think the quality, we'll find out whenever I upload it, huh?
All right, yeah.
All right, homeboy, I'll shoot you a text as soon as it's uploaded if you do want to check it out. Other than that, man, I will talk to you later. I hope you enjoyed it.
All right, yeah, I did, absolutely.
All right, bud.
Have a good one.
I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, bye.
All right, guys, so as you heard, I just did an episode where Bobby was my co-host, and that's kind of weird. I'm really hoping that this turns out pretty good, but it's really hard to say because I don't know much about, the phone call podcast. So Dave told me he will be flying home on Saturday, so he will be back next week. Other than that, man, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was a little different than usual. Thanks, man. Yep, that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Oh, shit. I actually got a shout out, so I'm going to upload that shout out from somebody. A guy named TJ wants to shout out his main man named Leaf. So, I'm going to upload that, and then I'm going to hop off here, guys. So, I ran into this fella today, and he said something about my podcast.
WTF, Dave and Chris is the shit.
All right. Now, where'd you say you were from?
Green.
That's in Ohio, right?
Correct.
All right, what high school did you go to?
Green High School.
You want to give a shout out to any of your buddies?
What's up, guys? Shout out to Leaf, my main man that's been there for a long time.
Right on. What's his name?
Leaf.
Leaf. Hey, shout out, Leaf. That's your buddy TJ. He said, what's up? You've been there for a long time. Cool. Well, shit. Didn't that sound scripted? Hey, that was TJ shouting out Leaf. Everybody listening, thank you. Please continue to help us grow. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. Love you. Mwah.
Please remember to subscribe, follow, and email us at WTFDaveandChris@gmail.com.